good afternoon and welcome to all of you. I'm Rich Lyons, Dean of the Haas School here at UC Berkeley. It is my pleasure, and I'll introduce him in just a moment, to welcome our first Dean Speaker Series guest here. And as you know, we've got a great series of Dean Speaker Series sessions coming up. One that's coming up, I'll just mention it very quickly, Dr. Stephen Chu, who, as you know, ran Lawrence Berkeley National Lab for a long time and was the Energy Secretary for the U.S., Nobel laureate. Steve Chu will be speaking on Friday, this Friday at noon in Anderson Auditorium. So I hope you'll be able to make that one and some of the others as well. Let's get to our speaker very quickly, okay? It is time for me to introduce him. He is, he's blazed many paths in the business world, and also I think his perspective is very resonant with what we do here at UC Berkeley, and you will see that. He revolutionized the world of advertising in many different ways and communications, built, of course, one of the most emulated companies in the industry and world. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce and welcome Mr. Kevin Roberts. He is the executive chairman of Saatchi & Saatchi. His career was built in sales, marketing, and leadership roles at a number of iconic brand companies. Just a small subset, Procter & Gamble, Gillette, Pepsi, and many others. Since 1997, that's when he came to Saatchi & Saatchi. The company has achieved, since then, record creative and financial performance under his leadership. Saatchi & Saatchi started in London in 1970, so some 45 years ago, now headquartered in New York. 130 offices in 70 countries, more than 6,000 employees. The Love Mark concept, that's something you'll hear about here. The Love Mark concept, really a signature concept that Kevin himself created. It's core to Saatchi & Saatchi's mission statement, getting people to fall in love with our clients' products and services. It really has had a big impact on the industry and was part of why he was named by Advertising Age. This was one of the 10 big ideas of the decade. Kevin is chairman of several companies, honorary appointments in many universities, long list of remarkable achievements here. Let's get started. Welcome to you, Kevin. Thanks for coming to Berkeley.
Thank you very much. Okay, I only came here because I wanted to have a blast, right? So I hope you enjoy yourselves. I am not politically correct. Okay. Right, I started life very poor, like probably many of you, I lived in a working class environment, didn't have my own room till I moved out, actually, and got kicked out of school when I was 17, and me and the principal had a personality problem. I had one, he didn't. and I was really poor, and now I'm really rich. And being rich is so much better, okay? So you're all going to be MBAs. Just make a note of that. I think you've already figured that out, right? This poor thing's very good for the spirit and all that, and long live, dreams and everything. But if you've got a bit of dough, it helps because you can actually pay to get things done and get resources and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that has helped me is to get rid of all my fear. People ask me what I'm frightened of. I'm frightened of nothing. Absolutely nothing I'm frightened of, right? I used to be frightened of lots of stuff, right? Now I'm not frightened of anything, so that's why the political correctness. I just don't care, actually. It's great, isn't it? So, and that includes sex, religion, ethnic background, whether you're tall or short, old, ages. None of that stuff. I don't care. I couldn't care less. Okay. So if I don't insult you early on, don't take it personally. I will try to get to you before the end of. It's not my fault, right? It's just your guys are so diverse, I won't be able to get to all of you very quickly. I'm here to have fun, all right? I love the school. I love what they do. I've just been talking to Rich about the positioning. I've known a lot of students that have come here, and they have genuinely loved the place. They've come out better. They've done all kinds of different things. But the thing that's impressed me about 2 or 3 of them recently, over the last, say, 4 or 5 years, is that they have come out believing that they can make a difference to the world, believing that they can do something that matters, and not just talking about that, I want to make the world a better place nonsense, right? But actually feeling that they were equipped to and feeling motivated. The most important thing all of them said they'd got when they were here was the people they'd met on the program. So, I mean, I'm sure you get good professors, and I'm sure the program's pretty interesting. At least it's got leadership at its core, which is quite smart. But the most important thing you're going to get are the connections that you make here. Believe me. You guys are going to rule the world, right? Or not going to rule it, but you're going to maybe upset it and certainly question the status quo. And I can see the T-shirt, right? Why they do them in lime green is a different issue, but it's a statement, man. That's questioning the status quo already, because you look sort of normal, and then you're wearing that T-shirt. So I'm going to talk to you about one thing, really, which is today winning in a crazy world. Winning, winning, winning. Because you've come here, you've invested 2 years and quite a lot of money to turn your lives around, right? So you can go out and win. Is that true or false? True. Talk back to me, otherwise it's going to be a very long hour for me. Yeah? I mean, you've made a real conscious choice to come here. You could have gone anywhere. It's pretty tough to get in here. They only hire the best of the best. And then some of you got in as well. Anyway, but I don't know how that occurred. But, you know, miracles do happen. Nothing's impossible, we think, at Saatchi & Saatchi. So you've come here to invest. When you go out of here, you want to go out to win. And I don't mean winning like being greedy and, you know, Wall Street capitalists and all that kind of stuff. You know, winning is whatever it means to you. But there's a difference between winning and losing, right? Yes? Yes. Losing sucks, okay? People tell me you lose a lot, you learn a lot and do all that. Yeah, maybe. But you learn even more from winning if you're smart, right? Right? And you just ramp it up, boof, and it becomes transformational. So winning's a good thing. It's not everything. Winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is. I've always wanted to win, to be the best I could be, to be the best for society, to be the best for my family. I want to be the best husband, the best father, the best lover, the best friend, the best mentor, the best at everything. You heard this work-life balance nonsense? What a load of nonsense that is. I believe in work-life balance. Okay, well, I believe I'm looking at a loser. So, because balance is all about compromise, is all about moderation, right? And you don't win through compromise. You don't win through balance. You want to be the best student, the best friend, have the best time, be the best business person, be the best social engineer. You want to be the best everything. It is about work-life integration. Integrate your work, your family, your friends, your life, and your own development. Don't balance them. Just find ways. I mean, Jeff Bezos just got a pasting in the New York Times, unfairly, because he runs a wonderful, wonderful business, right? But he talks about at Amazon, here, work harder, work smarter, work longer. 2 out of 3 won't cut it, right? So be prepared to work smarter, harder, and longer, because that's where winning comes from. A few months ago, I got a phone call, and Trudy works for me in New York, and she said, I have the Pentagon on the phone. I said, I don't think so. Highly unlikely. I've done nothing wrong, you know, whatsoever. Crystal clean, man. No, she said, I'm telling you. I said, look, Trudy's American, right? I'm not. Okay? I said, look, it's one of my idiot friends from New Zealand calling you, an impressionable American, telling them it's the Pentagon. She said, it's the Pentagon. I said, how do you know? She said, you'll know. Okay, so I've never been in the military. Anybody here been in the military? Okay, you would know. Which one? Navy. In America. Yes. Okay, so that's really a superior force, the Navy, right? I mean, it's the best of the best, right? Absolutely. Right? And it's not only you that say that, right? Any Navy man would say that. Any Navy man. But that's how it's viewed. I mean, I was just at Los Alamos, and they view the Navy as being way above the other two. Anyway, so the good news in this story is that I didn't have an admiral on the phone. I had a 4-star American general, U.S. Army general. Who knew they had 4 stars? I thought only hotels had 4 stars. But in the Army, they have 4. In fact, they have a 5-star, but I think they only have one of them. I don't know. They don't. 4 stars, right? 4 stars. Okay. 4 stars, this guy. Wow. You'd have spoken to one. Maybe you were one. No, but you've spoken to one. I have still never spoken to one. Because you're not required to speak, okay? What you're required to do from a 4-star American general is to listen and to execute. It's a really simple thing. This guy says to me, listen, we want you to come up to the Pentagon, which was a bit of a problem for me, so I had no idea where it was. I'm from New Zealand. I thought the Pentagon was a band, right? So I have no idea where it is, but I can't talk because he's talking, right? Actually shouting, okay? And he said, and you will come up, and I said, no, I didn't say, that's all I said. He said, and you will come to talk to us about how to improve the image of America internationally. I said, I don't think so. You got the wrong guy. He said, and you will report. It's like just wasting time, don't it? You report to me in 3 weeks at 1100 hours. My watch, not an Apple, it's an old Yuri Gagarin. It's one of them watches that still go tick, tick, tick. Got it from Russia. Yuri Gagarin took it up into space. And it doesn't have any hundreds on it. It just has 1 to 12 on it. So I had no idea what time he meant anyway, or where to go. I said, okay. Boom. I said to Drew, that didn't go great. So we just see if you can call him back and ask him a couple of questions. So I'm not speaking to him. I said, okay, well, I'll try to. So I get on the phone, get back to him, and I say, excuse me, your worshipness and, holiness and whatever. How would I know what they're called? But he seemed pretty important. And I said, okay, I'm sort of clear on that. Because Trudy knew where the Pentagon was and knew what, 2300 was or whatever. I said, who will I be speaking to? So where they talk in the military, he says to me, our best and brightest. I said, it'll be a small room then. Poof! Anyway, I rock up there and he tells me, or no, he doesn't tell me, but there's 200 of them there. And I don't know if they were the best, but they were pretty bright, okay? They were very high, very, very bright. Massive, real smart, right? They had iPad 7, and it's not even out yet, right? And this was 7 months ago, and they're all in there, iPad 7. iPhone 10, forget iPhone 6. These guys have got iPhones without screens on, man. It's all... Combined EQ, emotional quotient of the room, below room temperature. If they were in a bar, it's the kind of bar that you walk into and you go, oh, no. You just walk out again, but they're all there. Anyway, so I'm into this topic of how to improve the image of America International. I said, well, one of the first things you might want to do is stop killing people, because that might... That didn't go down well. Nobody laughed. It just wasn't. U.S. Marines, they're not part of the Navy, or they are? U.S. Marines? Part of the department. Yeah, they looked pretty scary. These 4 Marines, big guns, right at the back of the room, all of them together took 2 steps towards me. I took 10 steps backwards, and I thought... Anyway, it didn't go great from there. One of the things the guy said to me was, you know what, we're living in a VUCA world, a world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Have you come across that expression? VUCA. It is what they're teaching now in West Point and all this kind of stuff, and it is really smart. I think they're spot on. The world we live in, and it's never going to change, man. It's never going to change. So their whole point is, we used to focus all our military stuff on strategy. Now we're focusing on leadership and execution. Because in a world that's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, no plan ever withstands first contact with the enemy. No strategic plan lives for longer than 100 days until you have to start adjusting, reflecting, responding, because all the power has shifted through technology and through education and through other stuff. So this power tectonic plate is now with the people rather than with institutions, with governments, with companies, with media, with brands, and so on. So this is the world you're going to be into. So it's the world you're living in. I said to him, I knew that. I did. And I said, and in fact, Mr. Lordship, we in advertising have moved on from a VUCA world to a super VUCA world. And I said it without laughing, okay? Because in advertising, everything's super size, super model, super league. And I said, the world that we actually live in is a world that is vibrant, full of life, full of hope, full of people like you. Full of dreamers, full of radical optimists. Okay? It is full of it. Wherever you go, man, if you guys ever got outside of Washington, you would see this, that the world is vibrant. It is a world that's unreal. Thank you very much, mate. I was going to start dancing with it. It's a world that is unreal, because to change the world in the last generation, my generation or whatever, you needed to have clout, you needed to have relationships, you needed to have money, you needed to have big resource. That's why the big got bigger, the small got smaller, the rich got richer, the poor got richer, poorer, right? So that's what you needed then. What do you need today to change the world? What do you need today to change the world? It's the only thing you really need. What do you need? Huh. Yeah. Go on. Passion. Passion's a good thing. Without it, but you could be passionate about the wrong thing. Hitler had passion. Told you it's politically correct. But it's a good try. What do you think? Capital. No, you don't need capital. Do you think Zuckerberg had capital when he got started? He had diddly squat. No, come on, pay attention, son. You can do better than that. Yes, ma'am. Confidence is a good thing. Oh, confidence without attitude. See, Rich, what am I telling you? You do need confidence, but there's no big point being confident about the wrong thing, right? Everybody who fought Mike Tyson were confident. You know who Mike Tyson was? Tyson said, yeah, every strategy is great till you give them a punch in the mouth. Poof. Yeah, what do you think? What do you need to change the world? Creativity. Fantastic. You're in the right program, right? So it's very close. And creativity is good enough. You're right. The only thing you need to change the world is an idea. Creative ideas change the world. We live in the world of the idea. Every success you think of. Uber is what? It is a simple idea. Do you want to go in a dirty, smelly taxi, or do you want us to send a chauffeur-driven limo at your disposal? Yeah, I think I'll take the smelly. No, I don't think so. It's an idea. What was Facebook? Just a fantastic idea. We live in the age of the idea, and the great thing about ideas is they come from anywhere. They come especially from here because they're giving you tools, processes, and connections where ideas can flourish. Because aren't you told to question the status quo? Is that good enough to question the status quo? No, I've just asked you once. Pink shirt. Pink shirt, yeah. I like pink shirts. Generally speaking, that's a very good example of a pink shirt. So tell me, I'd call you your name if I knew it. What's your name? Greg. Okay, Greg. So tell me, were you paying attention? Yeah, what's the answer? Yeah, don't you remember the question? You remember the question? I mean, are these the best you got? This is it? This is it? Okay, it's an unreal world because when we have these ideas now, we can communicate them and share them at the speed of light, right? Thanks to the internet. Before, if you used to have an idea, it cost you a fortune to communicate it, to talk about it. Now, bang! If you've got an idea, it gets picked up immediately by your 500 friends, and their 3,000 friends, and their hundreds of friends. Greg's got thousands of them, right, Greg? Friends. Of course you have. You must have with a shirt like that. So it's unreal that we can force change, you know. The biggest threat facing Putin and these guys is going to be a bottom-up from Moscow. It's not going to be arms and the normal stuff. It's a Super VUCA world is a world that's crazy. You come here, Berkeley in many ways has got a crazy MBA program. It's trying to do something innovative. It's trying to do something leadership. It's trying to break away from the norm, right, Dean? So that's kind of crazy in a way to think you can do that. And it's a beautiful, brilliant thing. Okay, so do not lose your craziness here. Right? Do not let them process it out of you or tool it out of you or whatever. Learn all those, but stay crazy. Because only crazy people sustain ideas. Because ideas are so easy to kill. Because they've not been done before. An idea is only an idea once, so anybody can kill it. You will soon come to meet, you probably met him in your old jobs, the abominable no man. Usually in finance, or he could be a lawyer, or he could just be somebody, an engineer, or somebody who's just been there a long time, right? Or somebody who's been there a short time, but in his head, he's got a long time head. The abominable no man. So we need crazy people to keep our ideas alive. And the fourth thing in an astounding world is that it is astounding in this super world. Is it astounding how fast you can move? When you came in here, the world was all about new, new, new. When you go out, it'll all be about now, now, now. Because new is so fast, it's already old. Any new idea this morning, my kids have already ripped it off for free by tonight. Right? And you're ahead of them probably without admitting it. So the world that we've changed, it has moved from an attention economy to a participation economy. We all want to participate. We all want to join in. Whatever we do in marketing has to be highly participative. Whatever we do in politics has to be highly participative. Right? It's going to be Donald Trump, Clinton, Bush. I mean, people have got to be kidding me. Who would participate in anything with any of those three bozos? I mean, what a dreadful dinner that would be. You and the Donald's hair, or Hillary's emails, or Jeb's, I don't know, trying to speak English. It would be very difficult. So we've moved from information, where we're drowning in the stuff. We need information, it's great, but what we're looking for is inspiration. What everybody wants from you is inspiration. I could drown you in information today, and it would just be, oh no. But can I inspire you for 1 second? I don't know, we'll see, but it's more useful. Interruption to interaction. ROI that you learn in, just learn about how to quickly do an ROI. It won't do you much good. Half of the stuff that you learn is right half of the time on ROI, return on investment. The real ROI that matters is what is the return on involvement. How involved, not what is my ROI on what I paid to come to Berkeley, but what's my return on my involvement? What is my involvement in the Berkeley community, the Berkeley alumni, the Berkeley network? What will that do for me? That's the right measure, not, what was my salary in terms of what did I pay to get here? That's the wrong measure. And finally, marketing. Marketing, who here is in marketing or studying marketing? I know you two are. Anybody else? One there, one there. Marketing's dead. Not marketing. The marketing that Kotler wrote about, that Porter wrote about, that many of the B schools are still teaching, that kind of marketing about creating a brand and building awareness and distribution and product and promotion, all that garbage, those are just table stakes. The role of marketers is no longer to build a brand, right? It's to create a movement. To create a movement. The Berkeley brand is irrelevant. The Berkeley movement is what you're part of. The Berkeley movement is what you should be propagating, because it's movements that we want to be part of, not brands. I don't care about logos and designs and ads and this stuff. People want to belong to something much bigger than that. They want to believe that their brand has purpose. It has something that they believe in, that cares about them, right? Is that true or false? True. That's a good going in position. That's quite challenging. I come from New Zealand. This is how we handle challenge in New Zealand. We're going to go three lightnings.
Yes, a new haka for the All Blacks.
They're all mates of mine. We have a problem with an account, we bring them down. Poof. It's the end of the problem real quickly. Okay, Peter Drucker, genius, way before his time, talked about the difference between management and leadership. Management's all about doing things right. Leadership is about doing the right things. You're going to learn both here. Make sure you learn how to manage an operation, a business, especially if you're going to go into a startup. It's better than doing it wrong, okay? Learn it all here. But then, to win, you've got to make sure you do the right things. And that's all about leadership. And it's about what I call creative leadership. There's a gazillion models on leadership. You can learn something from all of them. Okay? There's different ways to run different things. Leaders have to have different style because the only role of the leader is to create other leaders. There is no other function of the leader. Leaders create other leaders. Every year, 2,000 students pass through this school. Hopefully, 2,000 leaders leave. If that's the case, the world will become a better place through the leadership you show in your own families, in your own communities, in your own businesses, etc., etc. There's 3 quick things to talk about leadership in this area. I do a 12-part program on this stuff, which would bore you senseless. But it earns me tons of money. The first thing is that about creative leaders. Martin Luther King, you remember him? He did not say, I have a vision statement. Did he? I have a strategic objective. He had a dream. Great leaders have dreams. Great schools have dreams. Great businesses have dreams. Dreams are about reaching for the stars, not counting them. Dreams last forever and ever and ever. Do you know the Leica camera? They had a dream which was all about photography, and they're just 100 years old, and we made this for them.
100 years ago, something changed dramatically the course of photography. The first Leica was born. Of course, you could say, hey, some of these photos weren't taken with a Leica at all, but I must gently disagree with you. Leica took the camera out of the studio and placed it into real life. Image à la sauvette. Snapshots. We were able to see, to feel, to smell thousands of moments. It became an extension of the eye of the photographer. Joy, pain, ordinary things, fear, losers, winners, misery. War from inside. One image contaminating the others. Metastasis. The most iconic images in history, even the ones that weren't taken with a Leica, were taken because of a Leica. We didn't invent photography, but we invented photography.
Creative leaders build dreams, and they change the language around those, because revolution starts with language. Revolution starts with language. Think of the language of Apple. You know, just think different. You want to join the Navy or you want to be a pirate. It's just a very important part of a leader's role. When you go out of here and you start up your own company or you go to work for a great company, the creative culture that you're looking for is stimulated by a place that provides these 4 things in equal parts. If the place you're starting and going to work through doesn't have them, don't go. It will be an unhappy, sad place for you. You have to demand 4 things when you leave here: responsibility, learning, recognition, and joy. You must demand them in all equal parts. You have earned them, they are your rights. If you are given responsibility before you're ready, given learning so that you can fail fast, learn fast, fix fast, given recognition, whatever that means, a place where they have decent music or decent coffee, or you can take your dog to work, or your mother, I don't know, whatever it is that you, and you can earn a lot, right, and you can be rewarded, then you will have lots of joy, and you deserve joy. You're here once, and then finita la musica. So you go out, be happy. If you're part of this, if you give these 4 things to your boss, if he gives them to you, if you give these 4 things to your subordinates, and they give them to you, if you give these 4 things to your customer, you're a happy bunny. And happy bunnies work harder than unhappy bunnies. Yes? Yes, you happy bunny?
Right now?
Yeah, now would be good. Happy bunny, good. And normally?
Normally, 80% happy.
80% happy. We got to do something about the other 20%. You're the only person I ever know that quantifies happiness. You're spending too much time on this program. You got to get out more. Okay, that's good. Creative leaders stay in beta. They are fast, man. Fast, fast, fast. Think about this equation that's not up there. The successful people, companies will run in IQ plus EQ plus TQ plus BQ, all powered by CQ. What? IQ plus EQ plus TQ plus BQ. IQ, intelligence quotient. Companies that hire dummies are not here to stay. The good news is you are not dummies. No dummies get in here. There's all kinds of other retros, but there's no dummies, that's for sure. So your IQ's high. EQ. Okay, don't go to a company with no EQ. Do not go to Microsoft. Okay, do not go to a bank. Right, if you're thinking of becoming a lawyer, okay, be very careful where you go. So you need to go in a place that has IIQ, IEQ, TQ, technology quotient. Most companies are faking it. True or false? You're ahead of most companies, right? We are in World War III. Es verdad? It's true? We're in World War III. World War III is what? Ask Sony. What war are we fighting? Hacking. We are fighting cyber war, right? Terrorism is a sideshow. Terrorism is manageable. It's disgraceful but manageable. Cyber terrorism, we are in the middle of World War III. This is not a Cold War, it is a hot war. Everybody is trying to break down what this great nation stands for. So, you better join somewhere that is technologically smart, because if not, they are going to be left behind real quick. Okay? And a lot of them will talk about it and pretend it, and you will go in and look at the equipment and you will go, you got to be kidding me. Don't go there. And BQ, bloody quick. Okay, you've got to work in a company that is bloody quick, fast, because fast is the new fast, all powered by CQ, creativity quotient. Don't go to a place where ideas and creativity is not the overall driver. The third thing is that creative leaders, I'll just do aid. Think about a company. If you go to a company, we've done a lot of research, old companies, institutions, U.S. government, their leaders spend their time on 3 things. Leaders only do 3 things. They assess, they decide, they execute. Assess, decide, execute, aid. In the companies of today and yesterday, leaders spend their time 50% assessing, talking about it, interrogating the data, running the numbers, doing the research, looking at best practice. They spend 30% deciding, because the brilliant Japanese have just sent us down this wrong maze of consensus management, saying, boy, we keep losing to America because they're so fast, so we're going to now teach them consensus management, and that will slow them down. Okay, Toyota don't do any of that stuff, man. Toyota, boom, grease lightning, man. But we spend all our time deciding, building consensus, talking to the staff groups, the regions, talking to finance. Then we call in McKinsey, and it all gets very expensive, and even slower, and we talk more. And then, if we've any time left, because we're all exhausted, we spend 20% of the time executing. The SAS, your Delta forces, don't operate on that model. That's how the military operate. SAS, Facebook, and Google operate, their leaders operate on this model. I work with the SAS in the UK. 20% of the time assessing, boof, leaders, because they've got the information that they need. They've got it all on one page. They've got it all on one screen. They've got it now. They know what they're doing. Boom, assess. Decide. They don't talk to anybody, man. The guy closest to the customer, closest to the problem, makes the decision. And then they spend their time executing, course correcting, because in a VUCA world, everything's changing. So your leaders have got to be right there because they've got the scar tissue, they've got the authority, they've got the experience. You want to find a company that's over on the right rather than over on the left because nothing much happens over on this side. They're still assessing and deciding when the opposition have moved and implemented. The final thing that they do is they create love marks. The difference between a brand and a love mark is a super evolved brand, right? Brands are built on all good stuff, all the stuff you learn. Quality, trust, genuine, authenticity, respect. Shampoos make your hair all beautiful, soft and lovely, but all shampoos do that, right? Beer gets you pissed and tastes okay, but all beer, well, except for American beers, but most beers do that, taste good and all that, and everything like that. But what's the difference? You know, how do you create something bigger than a brand? And you do that by adding three things: mystery, sensuality, and intimacy. Those are the three things we're interested in. Mystery. The more you know about something, the less interesting it becomes. Sensuality, we feel the world in all five of our senses. And intimacy, that empathy, that closeness, where you can really feel how people feel. Because doing all the research, big data is important, we've got to have that, but it isn't the defining factor. We've all got access to big data. Big data tells you what consumers say and do. It does not tell you how they feel. Big data, we would still be selling Sony Walkman. Okay, because nobody said that they wanted to rent music, not own it, right? Nobody said that they didn't want a physical CD. They didn't know, right? So we've got to have mystery, sensuality, and intimacy. Love marks are not just built on trust. They're built on trust and love, the highest emotion of all. Love marks are not owned by marketing departments, they're owned by us, the people. We own Facebook, not Facebook. We own Google. Google do not own that. We own Apple. And they have to stop stiffing us and give us something useful shortly. Okay? The role of a brand is to create loyalty for a reason because, it does all these things. The role of a love mark is to create loyalty beyond reason. Beyond price, beyond value, beyond attribute. For me, Berkeley's a place where you can imagine loyalty beyond reason because it has magic, it has mystery. Okay, sensuality, I don't know, but the campus looks pretty sensual to me. I would have changed the carpet, but there you go, you can't have everything in life. And intimacy is that magical thing. Here's an example of intimacy.
Yo tengo 89 años y hace 35 que estamos casados.
Llevamos pronto 62 años de casado.
Y hace 54 años que nos conocemos.
Hace 40 años.
¿Qué es una selfie?
¿Una qué?
Posiblemente sea desnudo.
Erótico.
¿Eh?
No, háblame en castellano, querida.
Ay, no sé lo que toqué.
No, pero acá sale una mancha oscura, che.
¿Salía?
Sí.
Sí, yo me veo la cara cuadrada.
No importa.
Mira los deditos míos arriba. Ahora saca la foto esa que está linda, ¿ves?
Está bonita, ve qué bonita que está.
That's intimacy. Okay, I'm all yours. We've got 15 minutes left. Bring us back the mic, Meg, will ya? Or bring us back the Meg mic, whichever way that should be. Okay, who's up?
Please do use the microphones because we're videotaping. Thanks.
Stunned silence.
I'll ask the first question if I may.
Okay.
How about the Love Mark concept? How
Yeah.
did that idea come to you?
Through fear. One of the things I used to be frightened of was that brands were all dying, and Saatchi, a brand advertising agency, would be out of business 10 years ago. I think I was pretty much on the right track. And I wanted to figure out what was beyond brands. I came up with an idea called Trust Marks, and I was friendly at that time with Alan Weber, who founded Fast Company. Fast Company 10 years ago was a phenomenon of the era. And I said, I got this great idea that's going to replace brands. Nothing new's happened in marketing for ages, called Trust Marks. He said, that stinks. Oh. I went back to my loft in Tribeca, opened up a couple of bottles of Bordeaux. 3 o'clock in the morning, I was doodling, nobody loves me, my wife's not here. Alan doesn't like my idea. This is really ugh. All right, and I wrote this, I was on a piece of paper and I wrote this heart on it and I put marks next to it and I thought, wow, you know, love's a pretty important thing and what higher emotion is there in that? And we do love some countries and some restaurants and some brands, not the way we love our parents or our nation or whatever, but we do love stuff. And the idea came from there. I did about, 48 hours of hard stuff on what it looked like, called Alan up, I said, oh, okay, what do you think about that? He said, you got the cover, and I need 8 pages by Wednesday. Yeah. Fear.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm curious because liking a brand or supporting it takes so much energy or just a little thought, but loving it takes a lot. Do you think we as people and consumers are capable of loving so many brands, or do you think it'll just be a few things?
Yeah, I think you choose 4 or 5 that you care more about, that you're loyal to beyond reason. I mean, if you talk to an Adidas fan or a Nike fan, man, they have very strong points of view. If you talk, if you think about the way we buy nowadays, the Whole Foods buyer probably won't go to Walmart, and the Walmart buyer won't be seen dead in Whole Foods in many of the cases. And when they talk to you about these things, they're very emotional, and they're very passionate about them. And they use the words that you would use in quite emotional situations. But yeah, I think there's a real limit. I mean, how many people do you love at the same time? How many causes do you love at the same time? And love, both with people and with brands, has got to be earned, because you can fall out of love. I think people have fallen out of love with Facebook, right? Because we all loved it 4 or 5 years ago, and now we're all going, boy, I don't trust them, they're intrusive, look at what they're doing. So maybe now we move to Instagram or we move wherever we want to go, and it changes all the time. So it's very hard work.
Thanks.
Just come on up here.
Kevin, you talked about how ideas can change the world. What I'm curious about is, how do you come up with your ideas? Where does your inspiration come from, and how do you nurture creativity?
Yeah, 2 questions are different. Ideas come from everywhere at all time, but mainly they come to you because you get out and you observe and you listen and you're curious and you're open and you do odd stuff. I have no friends who are business. I don't do business lunches and dinners. I don't play golf. I never see clients. I find them very tedious. And I like artists, creative people, writers, scientists, young people, because ideas tend to come through odd stuff, I think. So you've got to be open to them. How do you create a culture? by providing responsibility, learning, recognition, and joy, and getting the hell out of the way of people.
Thank you.
Related to that, so I think MBAs or business school students in general are not branded as the most creative types of people. So what do you think we should be doing to kind of bring about that brand amongst ourselves?
Be different, right? I mean, it's not bullshit, right? Branding. Branding starts with performance, starts with action, starts with results. So, you know, Head and Shoulders why am I talking about shampoos? It's a very... There's something not so deeply Freudian about that. The Head and Shoulders gets rid of dandruff. So job number 1 is you've got to get rid of dandruff. Job number 2 is then you've got to add some emotion to that pretty kind of idea, right? Then job number 3, you've got to become famous for it, right? So the first thing MBAs have to do here is to produce some ideas, to produce some stuff, to do some startups that are creative. And people go, wow, you know? So that's job number 1, to actually perform, do, and act. I think the whole title of MBA is disgraceful, right? A Master of Business Administration. Who wants to be any of those 3 things? Right? I mean, it's really, I mean, if you think the revolution's, right, you want to be a creative fellow, or do you want to be an MBA? I mean, I just made up creative fellow.
I would like to be the former.
Right, yeah, wouldn't you, right? Imagine going into a bar. Hi. Actually, we have a... there's 2 things about this. You go into a bar, right? And before I was chairman, I was the CEO for 15, 16 years or something. You're in this bar. I was in this bar once in Saint-Tropez, and this chick says, you know, what do you do? And I said, I'm the chief executive officer of Saatchi & Saatchi. Right? 10 minutes later, there was only me in the bar. Everybody else had gone. Right, so I decided that I had a real language problem. So I decided I'm now a CEO, Chief Excitement Officer. That, you know, you usually get a follow-up question then, and then you're on your own, okay? But I think, you know, imagine that if revolution starts with language, imagine, you know, that you're a master, are you? Do you want to be a master of anything? That means you stop sort of learning, right? I'd rather be a student forever or a fellow forever than a master of anything. Business, this is a bit gross and capitalistic. I'm surprised they even say that in Berkeley, right? So, because everybody here's a Fruit Loop and does organic stuff, right? I mean, you just drive in here and all the clothes shops, it's where all my old stuff from the 60s, it's all being sold here. At very high prices, anyway. And then administration, I do business administration. I administer stuff. So start by being creative. Okay, and you're making a good start with your choice of dress code today. It's good. It's pretty good. That's an excellent start. Because all creative people wear black T-shirts. You know that. Right? I've got like 27... Actually, I have a T-shirt on the front. It says, I work for Saatchi & Saatchi. And on the back it says, and you don't. All right, we've got 5 minutes to do. I can show you a great ad if you want. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Or what should we show them? What's funny? What do we have anywhere? What was I going to show them? Who knows? Let me have a look at that, and I'll find something. Do you want something? You can just put Pooh Face in the meantime. Did you hear that? Pooh Face? That's disgraceful, isn't it? How would anybody admit seeing a spot like that? Do you know where that is? Or we could do the Toyota things if they're hooked up. Okay. So when we're talking about ideas, one of the things about ideas is, you know, I was asked to go by Lafley up to Cincinnati a while ago to talk to the leadership team of Procter about how to find a big idea. Okay? So they have these 24 there, all their global leaders all there, you know. So I rock up onto the stage and say, okay, I've been asked today to talk to you about how to find the next great idea, the next big idea. There aren't any. And walked off. I walked back on quickly. We do $2 billion worth of business with them after all. But I then said, there are no big ideas now. There's just lots and lots of small ideas. And what we want to be is a culture that creates lots and lots of small ideas, tests them real fast, and then listens real hard, and then drives 5 or 6 of them into huge ideas. Because the consumers now will decide. If we keep waiting and waiting and waiting for this elusive big idea, we'll never get anywhere. You see Apple get everything wrong, right? How many times do they get it wrong? And we just say, yeah, okay, keep, we're with you. And then in the end, it turns out great. So in this ideas world, don't be hung up on the big idea. Every idea that we've seen succeed over the last 10 years has started off as a real little idea between a couple of mates or a couple of people, and then it's just become bigger as you fuel it, as you believe it. Small ideas, and you can get these small ideas now across in 5 seconds because people are so sophisticated. They don't need 5 hours, 3 hours, 30 seconds. People get it really quickly.
Relationships compressed by Stuff It Deluxe. Stuff It Deluxe. Download at stuffit.com. Available for Mac and PC. Pregnancy compressed by Stuff It Deluxe. Stuff It Deluxe. Download at stuffit.com. Available for Mac and PC. Las Vegas compressed by Stuff It Deluxe. Stuff It Deluxe. Download at stuffit.com. Available for Mac and PC. New Year's resolutions compressed by Stuff It Deluxe. Stuff It Deluxe. Download at stuffit.com. Available for Mac and PC. Life of a Goldfish compressed by Stuff It Deluxe. Stuff It Deluxe. Download at stuffit.com. Available for Mac and PC.
Enjoy your afternoon. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Kevin. So many things to take away for us, right? Thinking about Berkeley as a movement, to think about our own mystery and intimacy and all the other many things that he talked to us about. Very helpful. We appreciate your being here, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.